Here we go, y'all. We're up in. Oh wow, this thing just dropped like dramatically. I gotta get out of here. No signal. I got no. Oh, look at this. The stream health is low, y'all. So if I start glitching, you already know why. You already know. But here we go. We'll do the best we can. Considering the conditions. I'm using the same camera, yeah, this is a GoPro live stream, but I'm using the same microphone setup as before. And the stream health is, let's see, it's terrible. So I might be in and out, and we're gonna have some wiper activity because it is raining. It's a steady rain, it's not a mist. We just picked up some tanks full of liquid. I'm sure you've seen them, these big white cubes, big white plastic cubes full of liquid, and as a result, the driver has to have a tanker endorsement. Thankfully, I have one, so I can officially take this load. We got 129 miles to travel with this bad boy right here. The stream health is a little better, so I'm hoping that you guys can see the panorama. Tight turn over here. See the area, see how it is. Now because, okay, so to address the question that the professor asked me in the comments on the live, well, it was just the highlight of the live, so I really didn't get a chance to, or I didn't take the moment to answer the question because I thought my live would be up. Apparently when I go live and I do a vertical live on my phone, it takes a lot longer for that vertical live to get posted as opposed to going live on the GoPro. Yes. So there's an advantage to going live on the GoPro as opposed to doing a vertical live on the phone. The vertical live takes about, I don't know how long, like a day or two for it to get posted, but yet the GoPro live, it's immediate. So is the StreamYard, or yeah, the StreamYard lives post right away. There have been occasions where I had to make sure that the lives on the StreamYard didn't get posted right away because of some music in the background of where I was, or potentially someone in the panel. So I wouldn't post it direct. Yeah, see. I wouldn't direct. Unlist the video so that YouTube could do whatever analysis it needs to do to make sure that there's no copyright infringements. All good. It might be hard to see along the right side of the road, but you don't have a whole lot of space. To make I don't know, make a mistake or whatever the case is, because first of all, that's all soft soil on the right, and there's some ditches there. And if for some reason you lose control of the steering and you wind up in the right, you could wind up rolling over quite easily, even empty. So when you're on these country roads like this, you have to be very much on point. Now the speed limit here is 45, but there's a reason why they want tanker endorsement for this load, and that's because of the liquid that can potentially surge and push your truck forward. So I don't want to have to stop abruptly. So I want to make sure I have plenty of space in the front in case I need to do a hard brake. When you have fluid that'll make your truck surge, it will continue to push your truck forward further than what it would do with non-fluid loads. Hey Bambi, good morning. Wow, it is early, huh? 9:22. Hey, all bomb lady. Okay, so I'm in Georgia. I'm in the northern part of Georgia, near Rome, Georgia. Trying to remember. Okay, this is Calhoun, Georgia. Calhoun. I just picked up a load of fluids that are going to be used for plastics. Some kind of plastic creation. I'm going to hop on I-75 right now. And head on up. I got to go to New York State. Not sure if I'll be passing through the All Bomb Ladies vicinity. Not sure. I don't know where the GPS is going to route me. I got the GPS set up so that I pay the least amount. Oh, you're in Iowa? Okay. Yeah, it's rainy out here too. It's rainy out here too. Iowa, yeah. Yeah, when I do reefer loads, I pass through Iowa often. Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, when I do the reefer loads. I don't do too much Nebraska. Nebraska is known for their beef. Iowa's got a lot of dairy, if I'm not mistaken. I was supposed to get a reefer unit today. I was supposed to swap out. I don't have a tanker like what most people see when people do tanker loads. I have a regular dry van. Right, a lot of farmland in Iowa. Yeah, Nebraska, definitely boring to drive through. definitely. It's a challenge. This is a the type of trailer I have is a dry van, but I have these big plastic cubes. I'm pretty sure you've seen them before. These big plastic cubes that they fill with fluid, and is that right, Bambi? Oh, the temp right now is it's 49 degrees over here in northern Georgia. Yeah. Reefer load, yeah. I see what you mean now. I see what you mean, all bomb lady. Yeah. Reefer is the best load. That's right. We're talking about refrigerated. But yeah, hey, reefer would be, and it's one of those things. Let me tell you what happened to a driver, all bomb lady. Let me tell you what happened. See, you know as good as well as anybody else that there are topical solutions for pain relief that you can use, that you can put on your skin as opposed to ingesting it. Well, it turns out that a driver went to do a piss test and popped positive, even though he doesn't ingest anything related to cannabis, and yet he still popped positive. If I'm not mistaken, he wound up losing his license as a result. There was a period of time when... Oh, really? Delivers anhydrous to farms? Okay. So you understand the deal, Bambi. Oh, yeah. See, you gotta... Yeah, you have to be careful. Some of these loads... There was a Canadian driver in Memphis, Tennessee. I think it was at a Pilot. There was a spot in Memphis where they had two Pilot truck stops right next to each other, and I think that's where it happened. They shut them both down. They're no longer there. But there was a lady offering her services, offering some comfort services, and she approached the driver, as they typically do. A lot of times they just get up on the steps to the driver's side door and negotiate prices for companionship. Well, it turns out that was just a setup, because on the while she's entertaining him on the driver's side, on the passenger side, someone showed up with a firearm and unalived the driver, and they wound up stealing his load. Yeah, a matter of fact, you're not even supposed to. You're not supposed to have certain prescriptions in your truck, even though, like painkillers, you're not supposed to have them inside your truck. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, this particular substance, all bomb lady, this particular substance did pop up on the test. Yeah, it is serious business. Yep. Yep. Xanax is one. Yep. Yep. They'll lock you up. You can't even have a closed, unopened container that has any alcohol whatsoever. Zero alcohol allowed. You're getting locked up. A coworker was at a gathering. I don't remember if it was a family gathering or a... No. It was a gathering with fellow coworkers at one of their houses, I guess, to watch a football game or something to that effect. And because it's the winter and it's in the Northeast, he was ready to leave. He's in the car waiting for his wife or his friend, whatever the case is. And he turns the car on just to stay warm. And by chance, the police had shown up. And I guess my coworker didn't think anything of it. And he wound up getting arrested for driving under the influence, even though he wasn't driving. But because the key was in the ignition and he's sitting behind the wheel, that's all you need. And the cop took total advantage of that and locked him up. And he lost his license for like a year. An owl? Just because it was still in my system for 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah, and in trucking companies, the ones that make the bigger deal about stuff like that, yeah, it does depend on the cop. They do hair samples. So you can stop smoking for whatever period of time, and they grab hair samples, and it's a wrap. I think a lot of that stuff is overblown. Oh, an OWI. Okay, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, an OW. Operating while influenced, I would imagine that stands for. Like I said in previous videos, some people are just not, they're not meant to be law enforcers. Oh, you had that happen to you too, All Bomb Lady? Like that driver, that truck driver, he obviously wasn't under the influence, but yeah, it came up in his urine. Yeah, truck driving has some serious challenges. Yeah. Yeah. And in this industry, see, the way it used to work before? The way it used to work before is, let's say you wanted to apply for a particular trucking company. You go and they decide they do a urine test. If you come up positive, they don't hire you. You go, you can wait for your urine to clear, and you just go to the next company and apply there. And if it comes up negative at the other company, you get hired, no problem. Not anymore. Now, whatever result comes up goes in a database, and now if you pop positive at that first application, the second place you apply for, they're not even going to consider you, because all they got to do is go into the database and it's a wrap. Yeah. Oh, and it was costly for you, huh? Huh, Bambi? Thousands of dollars later, huh? Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. It was dumb. It was dumb. The thing with cannabis is that it stays. You're not. It stays in your system, but that doesn't mean that you're impacted by it at the time when they test you. Retirees, entrepreneur, yep, or single mom, yep. I can see that. I can see that. What should be done regarding driving and cannabis is that they have to develop some way that when they test, besides testing whether it's in your system or not, they should have a way to test whether it's impacting you at the moment. Just like alcohol, well, there's a threshold with alcohol, 0.0 whatever. They should have something like that for cannabis. They should have the technology available now, so that if someone does come up positive for cannabis, there should be some threshold that everybody can agree on, and see just how long ago it was that the person consumed it and how much is in their system, to be able to determine whether it's at a level that can impact their decision making. I think that they should already have that technology. Now that I have a load full of liquid, now I got to be careful not to jerk the wheel left or right too quickly, too abruptly, because the surge can go sideways as well, not just forward. I got to be extra careful when I get off exits. But will they spend the money to do that, especially now? They're not building new prisons for no reason. That is so terrible. 8 years, man, be with that? Damn. Yeah, the new the new prisons. That is so terrible. The prison industrial complex, is that what they call it? The prison industrial complex. They've made some improvements in the prison industrial complex, at least in the state where I was a correction officer. They made some improvements. Instead of throwing everybody in the same housing unit, they developed a system that helps categorize people according to, I think it was seven different categories. One was educational level. Another one was religious affiliation. History, criminal history. What's the other? Gang affiliation, current, conviction. So they try to separate the population so that they won't put in someone who's maybe doing 6 months, or not 6 months because you wouldn't be in prison for 6 months, but someone who did a low-level felony that required a year and a day to spend time with, or you got a conviction of a year and a day. They wouldn't want to house you with someone who has a criminal history and is in for murder, for maybe multiple murders or whatever the case is. So they wouldn't house you together with someone. In the past, they would do just that. They would do put somebody with a low-level crime with a hardened criminal, maybe with a life sentence, and didn't really care, and wouldn't matter to him if if he just took out the person with the low-level sentence. We got a way station coming up in 9 miles. 9 miles, y'all. However, those Rockefeller laws pertaining to drug convictions required the building of new prisons because the rate of conviction was outrageous. And then I think it was during the Clinton administration, or the mandatory minimum sentencing. Was that during the Clinton administration? Mandatory minimum also caused an increase in the prison population growth. I don't know. I don't know. They call it the justice system, but sometimes it is the injustice system. Every case is different. Ooh, I haven't seen activity in the comment section for a while now. I wonder, am I being transmitted? I can't really check the stream health right now. Yeah. Oh, that's what I forgot. Okay. Just us? Okay. I went past all these. I don't see. Oh, I didn't go on a scale before I made it to the way station. Let's see what happens. Now I looked inside. Okay. Right, so I started off by addressing a question that the professor asked about weight distribution. So I have a total of about, I think it looks like 11 containers. That's what it looks like. So what they did was they put 4 containers on one side of the trailer, 4 containers on the other side. 4 had 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and then 3 right down the middle. And the purpose of doing that was to make sure that there wasn't too much weight on one side of the trailer or the other. Because if you put too much weight on one side of the trailer or the other, you can wind up rolling over on in an exit, or maybe you need to avoid a hazard, and you take that steering wheel and do a sharp pull to the right or the left. That can also cause a rollover. Not good. Yeah, the roads are pretty clear up around here. But right now, yeah, just us system. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, that's what it is, just us. Yeah, the roads are clear here. However, and I thank God that this pickup was north of Atlanta, because Bambi, let me tell you, Atlanta, Lord have mercy. That thing is a parking lot. You can drive, get to Atlanta, put your vehicle in reverse, and wind up going forward faster in reverse in Atlanta. Atlanta's just one of those spots. Chicago, Atlanta, San Antonio, LA. Where else? New York City, Washington, D.C. Man, those places. Lord have mercy. D.C., Lord help us all. In fact, I got into a dispute with the owner of the truck, the company I work for right now, because most of well, they opened up they're out of Canada, but they opened up in Atlanta about 2.5 years ago, and they were doing more loads that were going along the East Coast, and want some Pepsi? I used to work for Pepsi, and it was apparent to me that the East Coast wasn't an area that they were familiar with, because their expectations as to how much ground a driver can cover was off. Was way off. A lot of the drivers from the company were driving in the northwestern area of the United States, or in the Midwest, where you have a lot of open road and the speed limits are much higher. But on the East Coast, you can forget all of that. Yeah, it was. And that's an interesting point, Bambi. Bambi said, wasn't meth a big deal with drivers and false books? Well, when I started driving, it wasn't meth, it was cocaine. Yeah, it's all computerized now. It's all computerized, but cocaine and having multiple books was a thing when I started. I started in '98, and let me see if I get a bypass out of this or not. Do I get a bypass? Yeah, I get a bypass. I don't have to go on the way station. Yeah, Yeah, so some drivers were asking about the money that drivers were making back even before I started, which is the 80s and the 70s. Even after Jimmy Carter deregulated the industry, truckers were still making money, but the way they were making money was that they were using more than one logbook, which is illegal. If they catch you with more than one logbook, you're in a lot of trouble. But a lot of these drivers, they were getting coked up out of their mind to stay awake so that they can run longer distances without taking a break or taking very little break. No, not at all, Bambi. You can't do that at all today. You can't get away with any of that stuff. Now with the electronic logs, you know, a long haul driver in 98 as well. Okay. Meth user. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a thing. Some drivers still try it though. Some drivers still try it. But now with the random drug testing, you're taking a huge risk. You will lose your license now. Well, here's the thing though. I know what you mean. Those guys are wired and hyper alert. And they're less dangerous than the ones that are fatigued and try to drive. That's a bigger problem. The ones that are fatigued and try to drive. But yeah, if you're consuming some kind of substance like coke or meth or something like that, there will be a point where you're gonna have to sleep. Because if you don't, yeah, your body will shut down. And that's when it becomes dangerous. When they get high to the point where they don't pay attention to their body anymore and their body shuts down. And if it shuts down while they're driving, you already know what's going to happen. Is it the DOT that tests you or the company? Both. Well, the DOT demands the company to provide them with results from random tests or the company might suspect something and conduct a test. And when the company does that, they want to make sure that they don't run into any problems with the insurance companies, because the insurance companies are the ones that really control the industry. Yeah, the insurance companies. These insurance companies, and now you do have mega carriers that are self-insured, so they can take, if they want to, they can take on drivers that have had questionable driving histories. They can do that. Many companies will not, because they depend on the insurance, and the insurance is what determines whether you have an active authority or not. That's what it's called. When you're able to legally transport goods in a truck the size of a tractor trailer from state to state or even intrastate, you need what's called an authority. That's your permission to conduct business as a tractor trailer. And what activates or deactivates an authority is insurance. So that's important. Now these mega carriers that are self-insured, some drivers are under the impression that they're getting away with stuff that companies that require insurance can't get away with. And yes, to some degree, there is more pressure to make sure that your drivers are driving safely and are not accumulating tickets when you have an insurance company. Yeah, Bambi, insurance does control a lot. However, these mega carriers, when something goes wrong and they go to court, they could lose hundreds of millions. Warner Transportation lost a lawsuit for $700 million. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Bambi. You're right. The insurance company is very powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Insurance companies are very powerful, and that's what the government allows. Yeah, lawsuits all happen very often in the trucking industry. Very often. Just recently, one company out of Florida just shut down because of the legal fees from the lawsuits. Yeah, no, it's okay. But trying to remember the name of that company in Florida. Carol something out of Florida had to shut its doors because of the legal fees that it had to pay for its business. Trucking companies get sued so often, it's outrageous. It really is. And to try to minimize the costs associated with the lawsuits, these insurance companies that insure trucking companies have guidelines. For example, the insurance company that insured my company required that I have, let's see, if I wanted to hire somebody into my company as a company driver, they had to have at least 10 years of driving experience with no more than one moving violation and no accidents. But I had to have the insurance company providing insurance for me for at least 2 years before I can even consider that. If I wanted to hire an owner-operator, which is somebody who has their own truck, and wanted to come under my authority, they had to have 10 years of driving experience. And I had to wait 1 year for me to be able to hire an owner-operator. That's and they discourage you wanting to expand your company quickly. Like, let's say I start my company with one truck. They don't want me going from one truck to 10 trucks within a year. They don't want that because experience has shown them that they tend to go out of business when they try to grow that quickly. And there are other complications that come along with that as well. There are a lot of hurdles in this industry, a lot of hurdles, and people aren't aware. And now that most trucks have cameras, it's extremely helpful at reducing the crazy amount of litigation that occurs in the trucking industry. Because truck drivers can be blamed for anything, and in the court of law, they tend to lose no matter what. This driver that I know, he's on the highway, the car in front of him decides to take an exit, realizing or deciding that they don't want to take that exit at the moment. So what happens? They start turning back into the highway after they've already gone into the exit ramp. They decide to turn back onto the highway. And that truck driver that I know, he applied his brakes but wound up tapping the car. The driver pulled over along with the truck driver, and the driver came out with a whole lot of attitude, demanding money because the truck driver hit him. And the truck driver told him that no, it doesn't work like that because of what you did. You were getting off. You were already on the off ramp, and then you decided to come back in. That was dangerous. Well, the car driver, he wasn't trying to hear it, so he was threatening to call the police. And then he kept bragging about the fact that upon calling the police, he knew that he'll be able to sue the driver, sue the company, and win. The driver did not notice the camera on the windshield, and when the truck driver pointed to the camera, his whole attitude changed. He decided not to call the cops. Still asked for money, but decided not to call the cops. Was nowhere near as aggressive as he was. But now the truck driver turned the tables and said, well, you know what? You're not going to call the cops? Okay. I'm going to call the cops. And he did. And then suddenly, the car driver, he thought it was a really bad idea to stick around. And so he took off. But prior to trucks having cameras on their windshields, on their trucks, it would have gone down exactly the way that car driver said. He would have gone to court. He would have taken him to court, sued the driver, the company, and more than likely he would have won the case. Now, the camera doesn't save you for everything, And it could even be used to incriminate the truck driver. Here's a case of what I'm talking about. So this other guy that I know, he has a brokerage and he has his own trucks. So he's got a driver on one of his trucks. He's going southbound on I-95 in Connecticut. It's between New Haven. This happened between New Haven and Bridgeport. And so between New Haven and Bridgeport, it's a 3-lane highway. And trucks are not allowed on the left lane. So the guy I know, his driver's in the middle lane going down I-95, and there's a truck on the left lane. He's going faster, and I would imagine that he's going fast enough to try to get ahead of my friend's truck driver, because if he gets caught in the left lane, that's not going to be good. He decides to get ahead of my friend's truck driver and change to the center lane. Too soon. And he winds up clipping my friend's driver. He loses control, winds up going to the right, crossing the right lane and into the trees, and rolls over. And to add to the problem, there was a pickup truck on his right side and dragged him right into the woods with him. So the pickup truck driver, he sues, or his insurance company sues. He may not have wanted to sue, but the insurance companies, they will sue because they want to make a claim. They want to get money out of the situation. Yes, my friend's truck driver had a dash cam that recorded what happened, and it was clear that the truck is driving in the left lane, which is prohibited. And they saw when he got into the center lane too soon. But the pickup truck driver's insurance company's lawyers had two very important questions. Number one, when you notice that the truck driver on the left lane was trying to get in the center lane, which is where you were, did you let up off the gas? Number one. Number two, how fast were you going? And this information you can extract from my friend's truck from his computer. The computer has all that information. So it doesn't matter what the driver says, unless they want to try to corner him and hit him off with perjury or something. But they don't need his input to get the information that they need about that. Well, I-95 in Connecticut, between New Haven and Bridgeport, is a 55 mile per hour speed limit. I don't think anybody does 55 in that strip. I think everybody does about 65 miles an hour on average along I-95 between New Haven and Bridgeport. So most people are doing 10 miles above the speed limit. So right off the rip, if the driver is going above the speed limit, a tractor trailer driver is going above the speed limit, you can consider that a loss right off the top. and the computer will let everybody know whether he was driving in that vicinity at that speed, because the computer puts out longitude and latitude and time and all that along with the speed. And also, did you let up off the gas to allow the trucker on the left to get in? Not good. And because we are classified, I'm talking about CDL drivers, Class A CDL drivers, and Class B CDL drivers as well. Because we're classified as professional drivers, the standards and expectations are much higher for us. If there's an accident, even though we're not involved in that accident, even though we did not cause that accident, we're supposed to pull over and provide law enforcement with what we witnessed. Yeah, the industry's a whole lot of fun. And right now, truckers are in a recession. They've been in a recession for the past 4 years. So between the low rates, the low rate per miles that are being offered for each load, the increased insurance costs, that database that I mentioned, it's the cost of operating a trucking business is higher, while the pay for transporting loads is lower. So it's not a favorable combination. However, I think I'm going to end it here. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, Bambi. Thank you, All Bomb Lady, for sticking it out with me. Watching this beautiful terrain. I gotta move over. The car on the left didn't want to cooperate for a minute there. In any event, thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for the support. Hope to see you again in the next one. Stay fresh. Keep it profitable, and remember, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. And with that, I bid you